So that is the next module. Okay, so we'll start with dimensional errors in metrology. So what is error? So measured quantity value minus a reference quantity value is defined as error according to the VIM, vocabulary of international metrology. Measured quantity value minus a reference quantity value. And what is a reference quantity value? That is a quantity value used as a basis for comparison with values of quantities of the same kind. So usually we use a true quantity value or a conventional quantity value as a reference quantity value. So both are included in the term reference quantity value. So the most important error in dimensional metrology is thermal error, the most serious error. The main problem is all objects, materials, they change their dimension when the temperature changes. So people say that our accuracy in dimensional measurement depends on our accuracy in temperature measurement and temperature control. Then we have alignment errors. So mostly caused by misalignment of the scale with the line of measurement. So misalignment of the scale or the contact faces, both of them cause errors. So they are the sine error, cosine error, and Abbe error. They are the common alignment errors. Then we have parallax error. So, which is caused by a gap between the object being measured and the scale used to measure. Then for high accuracy measurements, the biggest problem is elastic deformation. Of course, if you apply too much force, you will get plastic deformation also. But assuming that the forces are controlled, we will only have elastic deformation. That is, if the force is removed, the object will come back to the original dimension. But at the time of measurement, some force, if it is applied, that will cause some dimensional error. So that is called elastic deformation error. Okay, so let us see one by one. So thermal errors. Okay, so what is the standard temperature for dimensional measurement? Can you write in the chat box what is the standard temperature for dimensional measurement? Just to see how many of you are aware about this. So room temperature can vary widely from depending on the room. So if you go to Rajasthan, you may get 40 degrees as room temperature. So 20, 25, 22, 293 Kelvin. Okay. Very precise, 20. Okay, so the temperature for dimensional measurement. So that is geometrical product specification and verification. So you specify the product, what should be the size of an object in a drawing. So the standard reference temperature is defined in the first international standard published by ISO. So ISO 1. So that was the first subject of our standard published by ISO. So now, because you have heard of ISO 9000, ISO 14000 for environment management systems, etc. So according to this standard, the standard temperature for geometrical product specification and verification is fixed at 20 degrees Celsius. So the temperature for dimensional product specification or a geometrical product specification and verification is 20 degrees Celsius. So some time back there was a proposal to change it to 25 degrees Celsius because 20 is very cold, actually not very comfortable, whereas 25 is comfortable to most people. But of course, for people in cold countries, 20 degrees is okay. But for people in warm countries, 20 degrees is not so convenient. So even if we put AC, it is very difficult to achieve 20 many times. So we have to wait a long time without switching off, etc. And since it is little uncomfortable, most ACs here and all, they don't have the setting. Many times they don't even have a setting of 20 degrees Celsius. Okay, so the standard temperature is 20 degrees Celsius. So how can we minimize the errors due to the temperature change? So the very important practice is to avoid handling or minimize handling. Why? So what is your body temperature? Your body is 37 degrees Celsius. So if you touch an object, what will happen? The object will absorb heat and start expanding. So we have to minimize handling and minimize heat transfer to the workpiece and also to the instrument. So if you are holding a measuring instrument will also expand, resulting in dimensional variations. So to minimize this heat transfer, we should use gloves. Workpieces you can hold with tongs and all, so that the workpiece does not get heated, etc. So this is one technique to minimize errors due to temperature change. Then soaking. So what is soaking? So before taking a measurement, you have to allow the workpiece to attain the room temperature. So usually what happens, the workpiece is machined on a machine on the shop floor. So where the temperature is usually higher because of all the heat sources, machinery running, motors, all they are producing heat. So the environment there is hot. So the measurement, the object when it is brought to the lab, it will be at a higher temperature. So even if we maintain the lab at 20 degrees Celsius, so we have to allow the workpiece to cool down to 20 degrees Celsius. So for that, we do what is called soaking. So what is soaking? We place the workpiece on a large block, steel or stainless steel block, And we have to wait. We have to allow sufficient time to equalize the temperatures to equalize. The block temperature, we can assume that it is at the lab temperature because it is there for quite a long time. And then when you place the hot object, so heat will escape from the object to the block. So the block should be at least 5 to 10 times bigger than the or heavier than the object to be measured. And we should allow a time of 4 hours per kg. So after keeping the workpiece on the block, we have to allow, depending, so for small objects, it will get cooled fast. But for thick objects, you have to wait approximately 4 hours per kilogram, so that the workpiece attains the lab temperature. So this is the procedure for soaking. Then a third option is correcting. So many times we cannot achieve 20 degrees Celsius in the lab. So it may be at 25 degrees Celsius. Then one option is, if we can predict how much should be the dimension at 20 degrees Celsius, then we can correct for the thermal error. So how can we predict the thermal expansion? So thermal expansion follows this law. Delta L by L is equal to alpha into delta T. That is, for small changes in temperature, the length change is proportional to the temperature change. So the change in length delta L is proportional to the temperature change delta T. Delta L is the change in length, delta T is the change in temperature, alpha is the coefficient of thermal expansion. So this is the proportionality constant, and L is the original length. So this coefficient of thermal expansion, CTE, coefficient of thermal expansion, which has a unit ppm per degree Celsius, that is parts per million per degree Celsius. So this is per million means by 10 raised to 6. So this coefficient of thermal expansion is not a constant, but varies with temperature. But usually our measurements are at about 20 degrees Celsius. So near about this value. So, and the temperature change may be from, say, it will not go much below, maybe to maximum it may go up to 15 or so in cold countries to 40 degrees perhaps in India. Okay, so that is the range of temperature. So within that range, again, coefficient of thermal expansion is a variable. Okay, so Malot Sundar has joined today. Huh? What happened? Okay, we'll see you then. Okay, so how do we correct for deviations from the reference temperature? So the length at 20 degrees Celsius, this is what we need to know. The correct dimension of an object is its length at the standard reference temperature of 20 degrees Celsius. So the length at 20 is equal to the length at temperature T plus 20 minus T into alpha into length at temperature T. So this is the, by rearranging the previous equation, we can get this. So delta L is L20 minus LT etc. So if you substitute, you can derive this equation. So L20 means the length at a temperature of 20 degrees. So this is what we are defining as the correct dimension. LT is the length at temperature T. Whatever be the temperature T, whatever is that length, the length at that temperature is LT. Now T is the temperature at which the length was measured, and alpha is the coefficient of thermal expansion. So these are the variables in this formula. So we need to know alpha to compute, and of course the temperature to compute the error due to deviation from reference temperature. So the coefficient of thermal expansion near about 20 degrees Celsius. These are near about 20 degrees Celsius. For different materials is given in the table below. So for aluminum, it is 23.6 ppm per degree Celsius. Steel is 12.6. So the expansion of steel is approximately half that of aluminum. Invar, supposed to be invariant. So this was an alloy which was developed to avoid a temperature change. So its coefficient of thermal expansion is less than or around 1 ppm per degree Celsius. Brass is 20, lower than aluminum but higher than steel. Copper is 16. Okay. So now let us do a small problem. The size of a steel shaft is measured as 30.014 mm at a temperature of 28.1 degrees Celsius. Estimate its size as at 20 degrees Celsius. Okay. So only the value of alpha you have to choose. So the length at 20 degrees Celsius equal to length at temperature T is 30.014 plus 20 minus 28.1 into 12.6 into 10 raised to minus 6 coefficient of thermal expansion for steel into LT is 30.01. So solving this, the length at 20 degree will be 30.01094. So just get a feel about how much is the thermal error. So the measured dimension is 30.014. The actual dimension is 30.011. So 003 microns is the 003 mm or 3 microns is the error due to a temperature difference of about 8 degrees Celsius for a shaft of size 30 mm. 30 mm is maybe around the size of a thumb. Okay. So slightly bigger than 1 inch. Inches 25 mm, 25.4 mm. So if the length increases, then temperature thermal errors will increase. If coefficient of thermal expansion increases, again it will increase. If temperature difference increases, again thermal error will increase. So we should try to minimize these quantities to minimize the thermal error. Another problem. An aeroplane wing component is measured as 200.18 mm long at a temperature of 30.8 degrees Celsius using an ordinary vernier caliper. Estimate the true length of the component. So, okay, what is the wing material? So, what material is used to make aircraft wings? You know. So, and what is the material of the vernier caliper? So, vernier calipers are usually stainless steel. So, coefficient of thermal expansion, you can take that as that of the same as that of steel. Not much difference. Steel, there's only a few chemicals you are adding to steel to get stainless steel. So, the true length of the component L20 is equal to, okay, sorry, it's not there. So, please attempt for yourself. And then the coefficient of thermal expansion. So, we have to take the differential coefficient of expansion. So, L, no, alpha for steel versus alpha for aluminum. So, the difference has to be taken. Alpha for aluminum will be bigger. So, alpha aluminum minus alpha steel has to be taken as the coefficient of thermal expansion in this case. Okay, so please try it for yourself and verify the answer. Okay, so that is about thermal errors. Okay, there's one more point to be mentioned. So, in most engineering industry, thermal errors are not that serious. Why? So, if you have understood this problem, you'll be able to answer. Most engineering automobile industry, thermal error, at least till recently, was not a big problem. Why is that so? Aluminum. Okay, that is you're answering the material of airplane. Of course, material for aeroplane wing is aluminum. So use the thermal coefficient of thermal expansion given the previous table. So most engineering industry, what is the material used? Most engineering industry, what material is used? Which is the most commonest material used for engineering manufacture? Okay, iron or steel is the most common one. So most measuring instruments are also of steel. So the thermal expansions will get cancelled out provided both the instrument and the workpiece are at the same temperature. So as long as you don't heat up the component or there is no differential temperature, if your vernier and the workpiece both are at the same temperature, then the thermal expansion will get cancelled out. So only if you heat up workpiece alone without heating the measuring instrument, or vice versa, you hold the vernier and heat it up, but the workpiece you don't touch, the differential temperature will cause thermal errors. Otherwise, since they are of the same material, the errors will get cancelled out. So that is why we could neglect thermal errors for a long time. So that was by chance. But now, even in automotive industry, aluminum engines and all are coming up. Then temperature becomes very important. So especially aluminum, coefficient of thermal expansion is double that of steel.